Good day to you. This is the Doctor, and this is my video log. Well, I'll get straight to the point, shall I? I have made my first trip with my Vortex manipulator. You remember me telling you about it last time. And, well, I must say it was a very successful trip indeed. Yes, very successful. As you can see, all in one piece. So, this has turned out to be a wonderful gift from the, now what did they call themselves? Ah yes, a friend from the future. Yes. Anyway, oh yes, I ought not to get too excited and raise my voice because Stephen and Dodo are next door, sleeping, and I want them to stay that way. You see, they don't know about the Vortex manipulator, and I think it's going to stay that way. Yes, yes, just our little secret. Yes. Well, so let me tell you about where I've been and what I've been doing. But first, I need to give you some backstory. Yes, yes. There is a planetary system made up of asteroids called the Rings of Akaten. And Susan, my granddaughter, and I visited there, oh yes, some years ago. And while we were there, I saw an item that really caught my eye. I wanted it. Unfortunately, due to the various things that happened while Susan and I were in the place, I was unable to go back and purchase the item. And so it crossed my mind that now I have the perfect means to do just that. Because, as I think I mentioned before, the Vortex manipulator, although it gives less protection through the vortex, nonetheless is a more accurate mode of transport through time and space than a TARDIS, a ship such as this. Although I shouldn't be disrespectful to her, lest she take me somewhere I'd rather not go. Anyway, so Susan and I went to this place. I'd seen the item, I didn't get it. And so I resolved, having acquired this piece of equipment, to do just that. And so I found myself at the Rings of Akaten marketplace, where you can buy just about anything you could dream of. And I suppose dream is the appropriate word, because they don't use currency. No, not ingots of gold, or credits, or jewels, or any other thing like that, which we would recognize as a currency, but rather dreams or memories. Yes, it is a very interesting place indeed. What you have to give the trader is something precious. And, as far as I can make out, there is a psychic exchange whereby you give your memory to the trader, and if it's of a considerable worth, then you get the item that you wish to buy. Well, the item that I wanted was being sold by a Dalmatian trader. Now, I don't know whether you know about them, but they are notorious throughout the galaxy for being terrible at haggling. And so I was at least 10 to 15 minutes trying to wear them down to something what I considered a more reasonable price. But they pressed and pressed and pressed, and my need to have this item was so strong, so strong. But eventually we agreed on a price. And it was a precious memory from my days on Gallifrey as a young man. Yes. Yes, indeed. And I made that sacrifice. I gave it. And I took that memory. And I had the item. Now, as you know, I'm not a person who is taken unawares very often. Rarely, in fact, am I ever taken unawares. But I'm ashamed to say on this occasion I was. Yes, yes, yes. And as I was going through the marketplace, seeing what else I might acquire, I was jumped upon by some nefarious mercenaries. It seems they had been watching the transaction. They had been given the commission to acquire the item for their client. But of course, you need to be an organic being to make the psychic transaction. And these were robots. Yes, robots. 4 of them, in fact. And so they had to wait until some unsuspecting person came by and made the trade for them. And then they nabbed the person and make off with the purchase for their client. Well, I was the unfortunate person. They took me to the ship, and I thought that was it. And I did wonder, I must admit, what on earth was going to happen to the TARDIS. With Susan gone, there is no one who knows how to fly it. Certainly not Dodo. Stephen, maybe, perhaps, if he were to look through the manual, because of course he was a space pilot. But even then, I doubt whether he would have mastered the controls. So they would have been stranded. And, well, didn't bear thinking about. But of course I was concerned for my own safety as well. Who wouldn't be? Only a fool, I suppose. And I thought to myself, what do I do? They drew their weapons. I was backed against the wall. No defences, no way out. Because, as you know, I do not use weapons myself. I don't approve of guns. And I thought, what can I do? Yes, you're thinking, use the Vortex manipulator. Go back to the ship. Go back to safety. Do you think I was going to let them have my item, so sorely bought, with a great price, for precious memory? Not at all, not at all. I was going to get even with them. And it was then that I thought, what is that in my pocket? Something warm and sticky. And then I remembered. I thought, maybe my ruse might just work. So I reached into my pocket as they were arguing as to who would have the privilege of killing me. And I drew it out. Yes! And said to them, desist. Take no further action. For this is a electronic disruptor. And I would not hesitate to use it. Not only will it turn your own systems haywire, it will also put this ship into a meltdown. Yes, it will send the core of your engine critical. Do you want to take that chance? So, lower weapons, back off, and give me my item. And I will leave you in peace. Now, I don't know whether you know very much about robots, but they're not all the same. No, no, no. Depends where they've been manufactured. And it depends what they've been programmed for. The artificial intelligences, of course, are very sophisticated indeed. Yes, yes, yes. They can mimic organic life. And are very passable. Yes, very passable indeed for the real thing. But these were just your basic robot drones. And they believed me. The fools. And of course they didn't take the chance to scan the item. They were just so worried about their systems being overloaded that they acceded to my request. And so I got my item and activated the Vortex manipulator, and I came back to the ship. Ah, yes. So, a successful day after all, though it was a close-run thing, I must say. Yes, I did wonder. Yes, for a moment there, that the chips were down, as the saying goes, I think. But I would highly recommend keeping a jammy dodger on hand for such occasions, because it worked very well. Yes, very well indeed. They honestly believed it was a dangerous piece of equipment. Ah dear, if only I could share this memory with my dear Susan. But she's gone now. Bless the child. But I shouldn't brood. Well, I suppose I should show you the item, shouldn't I? Yes. Well, here it is. This is the thing indeed. Crystal, gold, studded with garnets. It was made for one of the emperors of the new Byzantine Empire. Yes, out among the stars. And one of a kind. How it ended up on the rings of Ekaten Market, who can say? There it was. I had seen it in a book, and I knew its true worth, what it was. Beautiful. Well, so you're up to date. A successful first trip with the Vortex manipulator. And now I think perhaps Stephen is starting to stir in the other room, so I need to put this safely away and go back to the console room, where they'll find me behaving as though it was just another ordinary day in the ship. I'll see you again, no doubt, soon. Ah dear, wonderful.